A boy Si-woo is proposing to a girl to be his girlfriend. He tells her that he loved her since he had first seen her. He apologizes to her as she was being proposed to by someone she did not like. It was not like she did not like her. She felt like he is talented and fun, there was no reason to hate him, but she says that she wanted to focus on her studies. A boy outside waiting for Si-woo asks what happened. But seeing his gloomy expression, there was really no need to ask. He consults him, saying that was the thing that he was prepared for. He tells his friend that she wanted to focus on her studies. Hearing that, the boy thinks that she should have at least made better excuses because she did not even have good grades. But why was it always him? A ball comes toward them in full speed, but Si-woo managed to block it with a single hand. The player comes running towards them asking if they are okay. Si-woo is sad and asking why he like that was. Indeed, it was the greatest mystery of his life, his friend thought. It was not like Si-woo disliked exercise, and it was not that he could not. With every meal, he meticulously calculated his calories. His diet and exercise were so intense that if other people did half of what he did, then no one in the world would get fat. His friend asks if he had been to the hospital for a checkup. Si-woo had gone to the doctor many times. But the doctor said if he is not losing weight in spite of what he was doing, it meant that his fatness was because of his genes. Si-woo gets home, genes he thought, and looked at his family's picture. He wishes that was true. He picks of his parents' pictures and think that it was unfair he could have given up multiple times. Even in the past or now, his mother, who had always complimented him about his beauty, as a matter of course he had never seen his father in person. However, he had heard stories that his father was a famous wrestler. Although his period of activity was short, his record and strength were truly overwhelming. According to his mom, he was not overweight, he just had a physique where muscles would develop just by breathing. It was so irritating for him. What was the meaning of all the diet that did not even work? It had been several years that he had been dieting without any results. Instead of continuing to be stressed for nothing, he'd rather eat as much as he wants. He then stops himself from stopping the bag of chips and starts eating the salad. He then goes for a run. Currently, he runs 4 kilometers. He could run faster than an average record. He remembers being rejected and thinks that he will never give up. He had finished running 15.4 kilometers. He had run too far without realizing it. But where was he? Was there a place like this? He had been to that place for the first time. He then takes his phone out to see in the maps where he was. Just then someone says to him that he is indeed fast even after growing up like a little pig. Still, it looked like Si-woo could not deceive his bloodline. It was an old man talking. He jumps from the bridge and lands in front of Si-woo. Si-woo backs down, asks the old man if he is okay. The old man tells him that there is no need to be afraid, as he did not come to devour him. He then introduces himself as Grandpa Mang-ti, a similar name to a boogeyman. He was taking care of the yokai in the peninsula, playing the role of divine judge. Si-woo with a shaking voice asks what? The grandpa tells that from the looks of it he knew nothing at all. But he was fine, as there was no need to say much. He then takes out a blanket/a sheet and tells Si-woo to come with him. He wraps him in the sheet. Si-woo is bound in the sheet, thinking what it is. He is then released from the sheet. He questions what is going on. He looks around to see that he was in a shrine. The grandpa called it the world of yokai. He tells Si-woo to look in every direction carefully, and he asks him if he sees it. All who were gathered there were the residents of this world yokai. Once human feared them, regarded them as gods, and worshipped them. Now they were merely considered superstitions and exist only as imaginary beings. Once every 666 years the Great Festival is held to select the King of Yokai. All yokai clans existing in the entire world including him must select and send young yokai with outstanding talents as candidates. 666 years ago, a yokai stood tall as their king and now 666 years have passed. It was too much information. Si-woo tells him to wait, but he asks why on earth was he there. The grandpa then explains that every clan must send at least one candidate including the yokai world and human world, and he was the only one who had inherited goblin bloodline. Well, at best, it was only about 4th or 5th generation, just a slight mixture. Si-woo tells the old man that it had to some kind of mistake. Someone then comes flying towards him and lands right in front of him. The old man says that whether it is a complete nonsense or not he should at least do the test. The one that landed in front of him was a monster, a big mouth yokai. The old man tells that if he won, he could eat him. The monster was happy seeing human meat after a long time. Si-woo was terrified seeing this. The monster charges towards Si-woo and punches him in the gut. He is sent flying. The monster says that even if he had inherited the goblin blood, a mere human should not be allowed to participate. So, the old man tells him to prove, if he wanted to live. The monster then again catches Si-woo and smashes him in the ground. The monster sees that Si-woo was surprisingly tough. He had thought that it would be easy to devour him, but it was not bad. He again raised his hand, saying that pounding fist meat is enjoyable. But wait. What? He had been stopped. The abilities possessed by goblins were truly limitless. Nevertheless, their representative weapon was the game they enjoyed. As long as it was a goblin, it could learn without being taught. Talents are ingrained in the body by instinct. Si-woo then catches the demon and using Sirim, a traditional martial arts technique, he slams the monster in the ground. Choi Si-woo is 17 years old. Race human now, his race was half goblin. He had now completely woken up. In the general store, he is telling about that mysterious encounter with his friend. Si-woo tells it as a dream. His friend thinks that it was very interesting to listen to. Si-woo says that it was not fun at all as he was getting beaten up the whole time. He then says that people actually do what they are familiar with in their dream, and Si-woo had never learned wrestling, he had only done boxing to lose weight. It was definitely strange, but he felt that the dream was vivid. It was as if he already knew those moments. Even now he could feel that he could do it again if asked to. While that his friend says that it was an excessive immersion, to which he agrees. He feels like he is under too much stress. Was he really that obsessed with losing weight that he dreamt about being muscular? It felt wrong. He looks at his hand and wakes up to the fight he had just won. The convenience store with his friend just now was a dream. Grandpa asks him if he is fully awake. The old man thought that he would wake after a while, but Si-woo looks around. It was not a dream. He then sees that monster that he had just defeated and is startled by that. He realizes that all this is not a dream, everything is real, and is worried about how he will get home. The old man asks the girl standing beside her how she felt. She says that, to be honest, it was quite overwhelming. Even if he was just half, she was seeing a human for the first time. Seeing him in person, she thought that he was a pathetic and useless creature. She questions if he really a mixture of goblin blood. The old man asks if she had witnessed the fight. The girl replied that the opponent was the opponent that could not even measure up to goblin, it could not even use magic and only had a ridiculous show of strength. Yet he had claimed victory even if he was struggling the whole time. Si-woo then tells that the proof is now settled and asks if he could head home now. The old man comes near him and tells that he had demonstrated it wonderfully, although he passed the judgment while half asleep. Si-woo says that he did not understand what the old man was saying. Bringing Si-woo turned out to be quite unexpected. Kangdu collapsed all at once. Was he hiding his true strength? No, it did not seem like it. The goblin lineage was still alive. It had been a long time since anyone had seen goblin wrestling. The old man Bandu, the judge of half-breeds, under the auspices of the promising deity Umang, renders the judgment utilizing the 100 yokai gathered there as a witness present there declare Choi Si-woo to be not a human but a single yokai. The old man says that if there are no objection, then all of them may withdraw and spread the news of what has transpired here far and wide in the entire peninsula. A yokai then hears this and states, "A goblin? This ceremony would be quite interesting." The old man tells Si-woo that his name has been registered as an yokai, and unless there is a valid reason, no one can harm not eat him. He tells the old man that he understands and asks if he could go home now. The girl was frustrated by this and asks if Si-woo was just pretending to be dumb or was really foolish. She says that he is now a spirit, and unless he can completely hide his identity among humans, a spirit less than 500 years old cannot enter the human realm. Si-woo then, looking at the old man, says that he is not the one who causes trouble, and he has never hit anyone and lived quietly. The old man says that there was nothing he could do except to kill him. He then jumps back reflexively. He sees that he had jumped quite high and quite far. The old man then explains that whether he considers himself a ghost or not, his physical body belongs to the yokai. Among the yokai, the goblin's strength was top-notch. Even if he was a newly awakened baby, he would easily surpass 10 or 20 ordinary humans. If it were an ordinary human body, he would easily break it with just a slight touch. With tears in his eyes, he says 500 years was too much. The old man says that he just needed to wait half a year. The old man explains that the new king of yokai is chosen every 666 years, and 500 years limitation was made by the recently chosen king. 666 years ago, at that time, all yokai were freely able to enter the human realm. Most humans could do nothing but run away from the yokai and fear the knights when they appeared. Or they relied on the strongest and on the clans that were friendly to humans. Fear and worship. That was the mindset of humans towards yokai until 666 years ago. After the ceremony 666 years ago, the newly crowned king began to dislike this. On the day of the crowning, the king established a new law using the blood of the defeated yokai, and according to those rules they were prohibited from harming humans or even revealing themselves and getting close to them. Thanks to that, modern-day humans have forgotten them, and not just fearing them, but even forgetting their existence. They only think of yokai as a fictitious stories, but that will not last much longer. In just half a year, the 666-year term will end, and the current king will abdicate. This rule he created will return to blank pages. The moment when the sun sets on the human realm will be the moment almost all the yokai have been waiting for 666 years. The night of the yokai. The residents of the spirit world are rushing to the human realm. They will awaken the fears and reverence that humans had forgotten. Si-woo is shocked hearing all this. He could either wait like this or learn how to use his power in the meantime. He is then determined to learn to use his power. He asks if he learns to use his power among the yokai, how strong could he get? The old man sees that he was making a determined expression in such a short time. He asks what was in Si-woo's mind. Si-woo said that he wanted to prevent the change of the world from the reappearance of the yokai. As a 17-year-old boy, he might not be able to make accurate predictions. However, one thing that he was certain of was that the world would become more dangerous for all humans, and at the very least he wanted to protect those who were dear to him. The old man says that he could not guarantee for certain, but the power of Goblin was undeniably strong. And he may not compare to the pure-blooded goblin, but even if he could use half of it properly, many yokai would not underestimate him. The probability of him being the yokai king was infinitely low, but if he managed that, he might be able to create a new law altogether. The girl then tells the old man to speak more logically. She then tells that he may not know about the yokai, but there won't be any yokai surviving in the ritual. The old man then says the girl to greet Si-woo. She then introduces herself as Si-woo. She was also a child like Si-woo who was representing her race in the battle. She then asks her what his name was. Then again says that she is not going to see him again, so there was no point. She continues saying that she had not come there to receive an introduction, she was there to meet the old man for the qualification test to enter the human realm. The old man says that Si-woo was in a similar situation as her and wanted to go to the human realm. He just ignored it as he was busy. Si-woo thinks as how the old man said that they could go to the human realm after half a month. Anyway, the old man tells her to teach him too. Si-woo then asks why she should take the test. Be it disguise technique or yokai power, there were numerous things that have remained stagnant and were inferior to her. The old man tells that is why it would be difficult to judge her qualifications solely based on her abilities. To avoid being exposed to humans, not only basic skills but also patience and self-control was important. Si-woo tells that she understands that, but it seemed like some vague excuse to let her off easily. The old man says that if he had thought that way, then he would not have summoned her in the first place. The ritual was just ahead, and the existing law would be invalid in the next 6 months, and he could have just ignored her till then. The old man says to Si-woo that if she can blend and coexist with Si-woo, then she can go to the human realm. Si-woo was in a similar position to hers. Despite being very young, he wanted to go to the human realm, and there may be no better test for her qualification than this. Si-woo had 1 month to show Si-woo the basics of being a yokai, including disguises. If the old man sees any progress in that, then he promises to grant her qualification to go to the human realm. Si-woo is confused hearing all this. The girl shouts not to spew such nonsense and asks what the old man expects a kid to learn in just a month. The old man says if that is what she thinks, then she could lazily wait for 6 months. Besides, what was the difference in going out a month earlier? Whether she decides to train him or just give up was entirely up to her. Personally, the old man thought that there's quite a possibility. Saying this, the old man leaves. Si-woo then wanted to ask a question just in case. She asks him if he knows what Yoriak is. He tells her that he does not know. She sighs and thinks that it can't be helped then. Si-woo is then terrified seeing something. The monster from earlier was behind Si-woo. She asks why he was making that face. The monster says that the kid is his and asks where the master went as the fight was not over yet. Si-woo thinks that it is truly insipid and calls the monster a lowly creature. Hearing this makes the monster angry, and it attacks Si-woo. Unlike humans where the racial superiority did not exist, there is a significant difference in lineage and species among yokais. From the gap in average potential to the presence of unique abilities possessed by each race, it determined the rank among yokais. Since the pure goblins had disappeared, there were varying opinions on what lineage currently hold the highest rank among yokais. If many beasts suppress their pride, the common answer will be the same. The nine-tailed fox were considered the closest to the penis of Peninsula's yokais. She then prompts the monster to just go ahead and try to attack.
Thank you for joining us in this recap journey. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the like button. Comment if you have suggestions, want more of the series. Don't forget to share it with your friends. Do subscribe if you want more similar content. This is Universe Nexus, your passport to the immersive realms of anime and manga.